Hey Michael, how are you feeling? Ready to work?
Steven, the bassist, was upbeat as always, and the mere sight of him put the soul at ease.
I am fine. Give me 5 minutes and I'll be ready.
Michael went down to the stage, where it was still dark, and, hidden behind the drum kit, where no one could see him, peered out into the hall. The hall stretched away into darkness without end. The back rows were impossible to make out, but that wasn't needed. He always began his acquaintance with the front rows, soaking up the mood, the expectation, the breathing of those who had come, searching for the one woman who had come to give herself to the music from the very first chord. And now his gaze settled on an unassuming girl in a modest dark blue dress, a small handbag on her shoulder, glass, dark chestnut hair, naturally beautiful and carefully pinned up. And he knew this was her, the stranger who was waiting for him with all her heart. Tonight he would sing for her. For an instant something pricked at his right temple, short and sharp like a needle. He waited it out, as he always did, giving nothing away. Not now, later. The pain withdrew as suddenly as it had come.
Where have you been? Tuning yourself up again, staring at that crowd of fans? Let me pour you 50 grams. It'll set you right. Works for everyone.
Leave it. You know I never allow myself anything before work. I want to be worthy of their love. What's so urgent anyway? The concert's about to start.
Nothing that can't wait. They've already paid. Tonight we're invited to dinner by the mayor. Some private restaurant. Don't disappear after the show.
Good thing you warned me in advance. All right.
The first notes always came hard to him. Until the first sound of the instrument is drawn out, the whole does not answer. It looks like the bottomless dark of space. But with every note of the guitar, with every word into the microphone, confidence poured into him. Confidence that he had something to say to these people, and that he was not alone. The first song he sang was about love, the kind that grows from a timid feeling in the opening lines into a hurricane of passion by the end. As he had planned, he sang for the stranger in the dark blue dress. He watched her drink in every word, watched her lips repeat the lyrics, and they sang a duet, though no one understood it but the two of them. Michael worked his miracle of shared feeling. In one song, the whole hall ached with unrequited love. In another, it became unbending as steel. Music and word were a single whole, and so was the feeling in every piece. By the final chorus, the front rows were on their feet, the back rows drowned in the lights of raised phones, and the whole roared so that the floor beneath the stage trembled. The audience refused to let him go, and he gave them several more songs from the old albums. Back in the dressing room, the first thing Michael saw was Frank, rocking impatiently on his chair.
You were on fire tonight. Well done. Only you ran long. You've got half an hour to get yourself together. Then we're off to dinner with the mayor of this little town.
It was the kind of restaurant you don't walk into off the street. No sign, no queue, only a heavy door in a blind alley and a man in a suit who nodded as though he had known Michael all his life. Inside it smelled of candle wax and expensive wood, the light was soft and golden, and the mayor of the city rose to meet him, arms flung wide, as if welcoming a son.
Here he is, our hero. The whole city is at your feet tonight.
Michael smiled exactly as much as was expected of him. He knew that smile well. It switched on by itself like the lights in a dressing room. They seated him in the middle, between the mayor and the lady in diamonds, poured him wine he didn't drink, and talked over each other about how magnificent he had been tonight. He nodded, answered in the right places, and inside it was empty and quiet, like a concert hall before the first note. The pain came back over dessert. It rose from beneath his right temple, slow and heavy, as if someone inside were pressing a palm against the bone. Michael lowered his eyes to his plate, drew a deep breath through his nose, and waited it out. No one noticed. He had long since learned to carry it inside, the way you carry under your jacket the things you don't show. He alone knew this pain's name, and he knew how much longer he would have to bear it.
Everything all right?
Tired. It was a good concert.
He wasn't lying. He simply wasn't telling everything. The conversation broke off mid-word. Someone's phone rang, then another, then several at once, and the golden hush of the restaurant began to crack. The mayor lifted the receiver to his ear, went pale, stood up, sat down again. A waiter froze with a bottle in his hand.
Something fell on the outskirts. They're saying, from the sky, a meteorite.
Outside the windows, somewhere far away, the first sirens began to wail. The mayor was already shouting into his phone, demanding someone who wasn't there. An aide kept shoving papers at him. Someone said the word casualties, and it hung over the table like smoke. Shattered windows across half the city, panic, total uncertainty. The fragments assembled into a picture of a bewildered government that, in the first hours, knows only how to repeat. We'll sort it out. We'll sort it out. Michael watched it all with a strange calm. To a man carrying his own catastrophe inside, someone else's seemed almost harmless. He wasn't thinking about the meteorite. He was thinking about the girl in the dark blue dress who, somewhere out there in this very city, was probably hearing the sirens too. And he was thinking that tonight, it seemed, he had sung better than ever before. And that only happens when you are singing for the last time. Alice loved her science the way other people love people, greedily, jealously, without reserve. At the institute, they thought her too devoted, almost funny. That girl who stays in the lab after the lights have gone out in the whole building, talking under her breath to her samples, as if they might answer. The meteorite fragments arrived on the third day after the fall, gray, unremarkable, in sealed containers. They were handed out to the laboratories almost without hope, a rock like any other. Alice got the smallest fragment, the size of a fingernail, and she carried it off to her bench the way you carry off a gift. The first thing she saw under the microscope made her pull back from the eyepiece and rub her eyes. In rock that was supposed to be dead, something was alive. Bacteria, simple-looking, tidy, refused to die in vacuum, in heat, in cold that curdles everything born of earth. She killed them this way and that, and they would not die. It seemed they simply did not know how. She didn't sleep that night. By morning, buried in printouts and her own formulas, she understood, or was afraid she understood. The bacteria were repairing what, in living things, cannot be repaired. The ends of chromosomes, the telomeres, those tiny caps that shorten with every cell division and one day run out, taking the person with them. Here, under her microscope, the counter of aging didn't merely stop. It was winding backwards. She checked again and again. She introduced the culture into old failing cells, and they grew young. Immunity flared up like a lamp. The body set about mending everything in itself, even the things medicine had learned to shrug at, even cancer. Alice sat down right on the laboratory floor, among the cables and empty coffee cups, and laughed, softly, helplessly, to the point of tears. She was holding in her hands the thing humanity had dreamed of through its entire history. Immortality, real, measurable, lying in a petri dish. Towards morning, getting ready to go home, her eyes fell on the dark blue dress hanging neatly on the cabinet door. She had never put it away after the concert. That evening seemed infinitely far away now. The vast hall, the voice from the stage, and the strange feeling that he had been singing for her alone. Alice smiled at the memory, covered the microscope with its hood, and thought, I really must go again. I must. She spent 3 weeks preparing the lecture and still walked to the podium with her heart pounding. The institute hall was full. Colleagues, graduate students, and two strangers in expensive suits in the back row whom she paid no attention to at the time. Alice spoke about telomeres, about immortal bacteria, about aging ceasing to be a death sentence, and the longer she spoke, the quieter the hall became. That particular kind of quiet in which you can hear the future being born. When she finished, the hall was silent for a second, two, and then it rose. They applauded her standing, they pressed forward with questions. The old professor she had once studied under shook her hand and could not get a word out. It was her evening, the happiest evening of her life. 2 days later, they came for her work. Not thieves, people with papers, all polite to the point of chills. They confiscated the samples, the journals, the hard drives. They asked her to sign where the word non-disclosure was printed. And then the two men in expensive suits who had sat in the back row invited her into an empty office and spoke with her for a long time, gently and very clearly.
You have made a great discovery, Alice, so great that the world is not ready for it. Imagine what happens if this becomes available to everyone. Who will work, give birth, die? No, such things are not for everyone. They are for the few who know how to use them wisely.
They offered her a lifetime stipend, a sum that made her mouth go dry. An office, a laboratory, work for the soul, any topic but one, and silence, eternal, total silence about what she had found.
And if I refuse?
The anger of the two smiled so warmly that she went cold.
Why refuse? You are a sensible person, and sensible people live long, happy lives.
He wasn't threatening her. That was the whole point. He wasn't threatening. And precisely because of that, a chill ran down her spine that she could not forget for a long time afterwards. She signed and told herself there was no choice, that this was the right thing, that alone she could never stand against these calm people with their papers. She almost believed it. Alice walked home on foot across the whole city. For the first time in many years, science could not save her from her thoughts. At a crossing, from the half-open window of a stranger's car, came a familiar voice. His song, the very one she had once mouthed along to in the dark hall. Alice slowed her step, listened through to the chorus, and walked on. It was strange to think that the only thing keeping her afloat right now was the voice of a man she had seen only once, from far away from the stalls. The voice sounded alive and strong, and she desperately wanted it to stay that way forever. Several weeks passed. Alice had almost grown used to her new life, spacious, comfortable, and empty. She went to her beautiful laboratory, worked on topics for the soul, and tried not to think about the petri dish that had been taken from her. It wasn't going well. That evening, the radio was playing an interview with Michael. She turned the volume up just to have his voice in the apartment. He joked, answered the journalist, laughed. But Alice, trained to hear in sound what others cannot, stopped breathing in the middle of a sentence. Something was wrong with that voice. A barely perceptible shadow, a roughness, a tiny catch before the intake of breath. Something no fan would notice, but which a practiced ear recognized without fail. That is how a body sounds when trouble has taken root in it. She didn't sleep all night, only now for a different reason. By morning, having combed the internet, she found what she was looking for and what she had feared. Brief items, rumors, half-denials. A diagnosis. Cancer. The very kind before which medicine spreads its hands. The very kind she knew how to stop. She sat by the window hugging her knees, and the world swayed before her eyes. The cure existed. It was right here, in her head, in her formulas, in her hands. And the man whose voice had once sung to her alone in a vast dark hall was dying, only because a handful of calm people in expensive suits had decided that immortality was not for everyone. By dawn, something in her burned out and settled into place. The fear hadn't gone anywhere, but it had suddenly become small, smaller than the shame. Alice opened her laptop. She wrote all morning, to several publications at once, to everyone she could reach. She laid out the essence of the discovery as clearly and rigorously as she could, attached the derivations she held in her memory, explained telomeres in simple words, and in every article, at the very end, she asked for one thing: help. Not her, the musician. Come together, all of you, and give him his life. And with it, years of music that otherwise will never exist. Let the art not die with the man. She pressed send and, for the first time in many weeks, felt that she was breathing freely. She did not know it was the last morning of her life. The publication spread by noon. They were reposted, debated, laughed at, and believed. Within a few hours, more people learned Alice's name than in her entire life. She read the comments, answered letters, and her boyfriend, coming home from work, found her radiant, the way he hadn't seen her in a long time.
Do you even understand what you've done?
I do. For the first time in a long time, I do.
They were about to have dinner. She was slicing bread. He was opening the window. The evening light lay on the floor of their small rented apartment. An ordinary evening, one of many they had had, and of many more that should have come. The explosion came from below. 2 floors down, in an apartment that unremarkable tenants had rented a couple of weeks earlier, a gas cylinder went off. The old 9-story building folded at that corner like a house of cards, with a roar, with dust, with a scream the whole block heard. When the dust settled, where Alice's windows had been there, gaped a ragged hole. They found her under the fallen slab, beside him. They say the two of them were together to the end. The investigation took the prescribed time and arrived at a neat, non-committal conclusion. Improper storage of gas cylinders by private individuals renting the apartment below. No culprits were identified. The tenants had moved out by then. The rental documents proved to be forged, and the cylinders, according to the report, had been stored with gross violations. The case was closed. No one compared the date of the explosion with the date of the publications. No one asked why the unremarkable tenants had rented the apartment directly beneath hers, or why they had moved out the day before. No one remembered the calm man who smiled and said that sensible people live long lives. It all fit together too smoothly, too quickly, too conveniently, and that was more frightening than any open accusation. Officially, it was an accident, just a tragic, senseless accident. The dark blue dress stayed hanging on the cabinet door in the laboratory, to which its owner never returned. Alice's death passed as a quiet line in the news. A young scientist killed in a domestic explosion. Condolences to the family. They tried to remove her articles. Some were deleted. Some declared the hoax of a grief-stricken fan. Some simply stopped being mentioned. The calm people knew how to impose silence. But the internet does not forget what has touched a nerve. Screenshots of her publications spread faster than they could be erased. People saved them, translated them, took the formulas apart. One scientist, risking his name, confirmed that there was not a grain of nonsense in the derivations. The story assembled itself, with no one directing it. A brilliant discovery, a band from above, a strange death, and a dying musician who could be saved. Too good a story to let die. Michael's diagnosis was now spoken of openly. On one of those days he sat by the window of his apartment, alone, as he almost always was now. On the muted television ran a piece about him, old concert footage from when he was healthy and full of strength. Michael looked at that earlier self as at a stranger and listened to the familiar pain slowly rising again in his right temple. He neither confirmed the diagnosis nor denied it. He simply went out to people less and less. And when he did, his fans read in his sunken face what, until then, had been only rumor. He was fading before everyone's eyes, and it was unbearable. And then one schoolgirl, one of those who know his songs by heart, couldn't take it anymore. She opened a fund online, in her own name, with a clumsy caption and hands trembling with courage, and wrote something simple. If the cure exists and the money doesn't, then we'll raise the money. Her classmates were the first to respond, then strangers, then the whole city, the country, half the world. Within a week, every second video was talking about the fund. Within a month, the donation counter was fit to be shown on television. People gave what they could, school children and pensioners, drivers and programmers. Whole cities held concerts in his support and sang his songs in the squares. No one wondered anymore whether this immortality even existed or whether anyone would sell it. People simply refused to let their Michael go. They were raising his life for him, coin by coin, dollar by dollar, drop of love by drop of love. The government said nothing. The calm people said nothing either, but their silence was growing heavier. The wave was rising, and one day it was bound to reach the studio where a thin, almost translucent man, paying no attention to all the noise, was finishing his last album. The studio became Michael's last home. He came whenever he could stay on his feet and stayed as long as he could hold on, and every day it grew harder. The illness had eaten him almost to nothing. The jackets that once fit him now hung loose. The skin was drawn tight over his cheekbones, and his eyes, in contrast, had become larger and brighter, as they do in everyone who knows the exact price of each day. They were recording an album. Steven and the rest of the band played as though a life depended on every note. And it did. No one said out loud that this was the last record. It didn't need saying. Michael sang a verse at a time, then sank onto a chair, closed his eyes and was silent. A minute, 2, 5. Someone brought him water, someone adjusted the microphone, the sound engineer behind the glass waited patiently without stopping the equipment. When he had caught his breath, Michael would raise his head and nod. Again. And he sang again. And here was the strange thing. The voice was failing, the breath ran short. By the end of a phrase, he was sometimes almost whispering, and yet the songs came out finer than anything he had done even in his best years. Because now, he wasn't performing love or loss or fear or hope. He carried it all inside him, real, filled to the brim. He paid for every word with himself, and you could hear it. The tape was catching not so much the notes as a man giving away the last of what he had. Once, during a break, Steven sat down beside him and was quiet for a while.
We'd give anything for you to stay. You know that.
Michael smiled. That same smile that used to switch on by itself, and now came from somewhere deep.
I know. So let's make sure that at least this remains.
And they did. A verse, a rest. A chorus, a rest. Hour after hour, song after song, they assembled the album the way you assemble a last will, unhurried and clean, so that nothing would need correcting afterwards. Michael could feel it. He was going to make it. There was still time to say the most important thing. He didn't know yet that the most important thing would be said not in a song. That day they were recording a slow piece, the kind that comes hardest of all, because there is no loudness to hide behind. Michael had just taken the last note of the verse and lowered himself onto a chair to catch his breath when the studio door burst open without a knock. Frank rushed in. He was red-faced, disheveled, gasping as though he had run across the whole city. And from the doorway he began talking, swallowing his words.
It happened! Michael, it happened! Do you hear me? The government, they've admitted it! Officially admitted the vaccine exists. Under pressure, of course. They had nowhere left to hide. The whole world is up in arms. It's terribly expensive. You can't imagine how much, but that doesn't matter anymore. Because the people, your fans,
He clutched at his chest.
they raised it, all of it, to the last penny. It was enough!
Behind the glass, the sound engineer, trained by years of habit to catch every sound in that room, reached down mechanically, almost without thinking, and switched on the recording. No one noticed, not Frank choking on his news, not the musicians, not Michael himself. The tape rolled silently, winding onto itself what was destined to become history.
Do you understand what this means? They'll give you the injection. One shot, and that's it. No cancer, no pain. You'll live another life. Do you hear me? A whole other life. They'll reset the telomere. The doctors have confirmed everything. Everything is ready. Come on, come right now. The car's downstairs. It's all arranged. I arranged everything. Come, Michael. To your rebirth.
The studio went very quiet. Steven lowered his bass. Someone forgot to exhale. Everyone was looking at Michael, emaciated, almost incorporeal, sitting on a chair amid the cables and microphones, waiting for him to leap up, laugh, cry, rush for the door. Michael sat motionless, and then he slowly raised his head.
I can't take this gift, Frank.
He said it quietly, without strain, so matter-of-factly that at first no one believed they had heard right. Frank froze with his hand outstretched.
What? Michael, you don't understand. It's all paid for. All you have to do is...
I understand.
Michael's voice was weak, but there was not a shadow of doubt in it.
That's exactly why I can't.
He looked around the studio. The guys, the microphones, the dark glass behind which, unknown to him, the tape recorder was running, and began to speak. Slowly, pausing for breath, but without stopping.
Those people didn't raise money for an injection. They raised it for music, for the real thing. And the real thing cannot be made by immortal hands. Everything I have ever sung I paid for with myself, with fear, with losses, with love that tears you apart, with nights when you think you won't live to see morning. Take death away from an artist, and you take away everything else. An immortal trembles for his eternal life. He won't risk it, won't burn, won't give the last he has, because he has no last. He has nothing to lose, and so he has nothing to say.
He caught his breath.
If I accept this, I will live forever and lie forever. Every new song of mine will be a forgery, and worst of all, people won't hear it. They'll keep believing me out of habit. I will have cheated everyone who gave up what was theirs for me today. That is a price for immortality I will not pay.
Frank was silent, and in his silence there was more than grief. Somewhere deep down stirred the thought of his own income too, of the fact that with Michael a part of his own life was leaving as well. He opened his mouth to keep persuading, but Michael was already giving instructions, precise and not open to discussion, like a last will.
Listen carefully, I won't be able to repeat this. If the money can be returned to the people, return it. To every one of them, to the last penny. If it can't be returned, put all of it, down to the last coin, into buying out the rights. Take my songs back from the studios, from the media moguls, from everyone who trades in them, and make it so that any person on earth can listen to them always and for free. Let that be my answer. Let that remain with the people instead of me.
He leaned back in his chair, closed his eyes, and added very quietly,
And now let me finish singing one song. The last one.
They helped him to the microphone. Stephen held him by the elbow. Michael could no longer stand on his own, but at the stand he straightened, the way he always straightened before the first note, and nodded to the glass. We're rolling. He had saved this song for last. What it was about, everyone later heard differently. About love, about parting, about a girl in a dark hall, about how everything passes and the music remains. He sang at the very edge, on the last of his breath, and where the voice no longer reached, pure, naked feeling carried him. No one in the studio moved. The sound engineer behind the glass wept and did not wipe his tears away, so as not to be distracted from the recording. He sang through to the last word, took the last chord, and when the last sound died away, he fell right there at the microphone, where several pairs of hands stepped in at once to catch him. He never regained consciousness. 2 days later, Michael was gone. Frank carried out everything. Returning what had been raised proved impossible. Too many had given without a name, without an address, out of pure love, and so he put every last coin into what Michael had ordered. The rights to the songs took long, hard work to buy back, but they bought back everyone. Since then, anyone on earth can listen to them always, and for free, the way their author wanted. And the last album came out strange. There was only one track on it, and it was not music. The sound engineer, going through the recordings, came upon that very tape that had rolled silently on the day Frank burst in with the news of the vaccine. It was the entire conversation. From the first, it happened, to the quiet, let me finish singing. Michael's voice, weak and clear, explaining why he refused to live forever. They released it exactly as it was, untouched. One track, a great master's dying address to his people. It sold 1 billion copies and was given away to everyone who wanted it. For free, like everything else. The calm people who had once decided who would live forever and who would keep silent said not a word. What could they have said? Against what is given freely and loved freely, they had neither price nor threat. For the first time they had lost, quietly, cleanly, and there was no one left even to announce it. People listened to that voice in their headphones on the way to work, in the quiet of their kitchens, in packed train, cars, and every time, a man who was no longer there explained to them anew why it is worth remaining mortal. He had sung his greatest song after all, only without the music,